You wanna go see if that listening booth still works?
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever noticed how most movies that feature record stores tend to use them in the same way? A character's infatuation with vinyl records or record stores tends to indicate warmth and maturity and intelligence. And in films that take place after the rise of CDs and digital downloads, these characters are usually eclectic, hopeless romantic types, clinging on to beauty that is fading in the eyes of others.
You love Ides, right?
Yeah, of course, they're great.
Not a band, Charlie.
It's a record store downtown. Things sound so much better on vinyl.
The record store as a physical setting exudes a heavy sense of romanticism. This idea of record stores being romantic seems to be tied to the concept of music having the ability to form romantic bonds. Record stores are often where romantic relationships begin to take shape and are one of the go-to settings for early sentimental dates where the characters begin to learn about one another. Again, this all stems back to the romantic power of music. The record store serves as an intimate soapbox of sorts for characters to confess their musical obsessions to one another.
No, I am not joking around.
Octopus's Garden.
Yes, Octopus's Garden's the best Beatles song ever recorded.
Why don't you just say Piggies?
This leads to the characters bonding over common taste, or simply over the fact that they are sharing personal details.
You don't know anything about swing, do you?
Of course I do. Just not a lot.
Even when a character visits a record store alone, it is often due to a romantic encounter. In Taxi Driver, Travis visits a record store after Betsy mentions that he reminds her of a Chris Christopherson song.
You know what you remind me of?
What?
That song by Chris Christopherson.
In Jackie Brown, Max buys an album that he heard Jackie listening to in an earlier scene. It's worth noting that Jackie's album was on vinyl, while Max buys a cassette, a clever way of pointing out that Max is less hip. And in Baby Driver, Baby buys a Carla Thomas record after hearing Deborah singing one of her songs in the diner.
I have a question. What's that song you're singing?
Being that record stores are so heavily associated with the idea of romance, filmmakers can use the record store subversively to turn our expectations against us. In another Edgar Wright film, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the record store doesn't serve as a setting for a meet cute or a date, but rather a breakup. Scott's immature and clunky breakup is heavily amplified by the fact that it takes place in one of cinema's most romantic locations.
We should break up or whatever.
And when the deed is done, the romantic backdrop of the record store turns into a plain black screen, signifying the end of the romance.
Not gonna work out.
Oh.
In 500 Days of Summer, the couple indulges in a classic romantic record store scene.
Nobody loves Ringo Starr.
That's what I love about him.
Later, the record store is where the relationship begins to crumble. This film relies heavily on the concept of one getting so wrapped up in the idea of a relationship that they don't really see it for what it truly is. Therefore, the idyllic record store is the perfect location for heartbreak. Much like record stores serve as a romantic setting for the characters, there is just something romantic about record stores for us as the viewers. Today, we see these locations as a relic of simpler times, a nostalgic reminder of adolescence and possibly our own romances. And in the distant future, if all record stores should close up shop, at least we can still visit these cherished locations through cinema.